sometimes you hear this like faith is blind. No, absolutely not. Faith is confirmed by actual direct experience and needs to be confirmed by actual direct experience.
Welcome to our Sahaja Collective podcast. We are Kirsten,
And Devdas.
and today we will dive into the topic of manifestation. A topic that has so many shades and aspects and has such a pull, magnetism, of course, manifestation, becoming your own creator of circumstances. So let's see what manifestation is all about, and let's hop into the full spectrum of the topic. Devdas, what's your experience with manifestation?
Wow, it's a tough
Steep entry.
It's a steep entry. We go straight into the heart of the
Yes,
matter.
we want to know.
And I do feel like, maybe at the heart of it, you can say that just exactly what you so beautifully described in the introduction is that we as human beings are given the power to create circumstances and all the tools that we would need to manifest the life that we want. Now, that can seem like, I think for many people, that can seem like it's not true, right? It's like I'm stuck in this situation, I'm stuck in this job, I'm kind of entrapped by my karma, there's no space for me to breathe. But in fact, yoga is the radical assertion, not just that you can live life with freedom in the way that you want, but that you take complete and total responsibility for your life force, for your own process of self-discovery, and you come into the recognition of your own originality. My teacher in India used to love to say originality, because we tend to think originality and creativity are kind of interchangeable words, and in fact they're not. What is original means that it comes from your center, it comes from your origin, and much of manifestation, or the play of manifestation, is aligning yourself to your own origin. And sometimes I feel like in the world that we live in now, it's like, oh, wow, people think, oh my gosh, that's so hard. I'm going to have to go through 1,000 courses and 2,000 hours of this training and that training. And it's just like, you were born that way. Like you were born utterly, completely, totally original, profoundly beautiful. Did you ever see a baby and think, something's not right? It's like, no, it's like they're utterly themselves. And there's something so pure and so beautiful and so magical in that originality. And then at some point, we lose that. And we think, oh my gosh, it's so hard. I can never recover that. That originality is you. Like you're meant to live as that. And all of the forces of life, all of the forces of the universe, all of the forces of manifestation are aligned to support you in that journey. Everything you need to unlock your origin is with you.
So I feel here we hop right into a more yogic approach of the topic of manifestation, manifesting. the yogic approach is not so much, I think, concerned with the mental level, with affirmations, with vision boards, with basically approaching life, the world through the mental realm. But I think in yoga, we are having a bit of a different take on manifestation and on manifesting
Yeah.
circumstances
Yeah.
creating life.
Yeah.
When I open my Instagram feed, it's full of manifestation programs and advertisements,
Yeah.
and I see so much actually working through exactly the realm of the mind, and
Yeah.
I never feel drawn to that.
Yeah.
Even though I'm definitely interested in being the creator of circumstances
Yeah. Yeah.
in manifestation, but I feel very much there's a different approach that is more aligned, more true, more impactful, more real in a
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
than that, as my whole life is not so much an alignment with mental circumstances, but
Yeah.
what I'm seeking is alignment with spirit and life as such.
Beautiful.
So when we approach, I think, this conversation about manifestation, it's not so much that we will dive into advice on how to reset the mental structure and work with that. But I think we dive into a bit different
Yeah.
realms than that.
Yeah. And, interestingly, and I think this is like, maybe we'll take a step back and then a step forward in the conversation and say, much of the yogic philosophy of alignment is about internal alignment of our own energy, right? And when our energy, in fact, is in line, life lines up a little bit better. And that's one of the reasons why, like, you have this very classic, very beautiful phrase from the Bible: seek ye first the kingdom of the divinity, and all these things will be added unto you. This is an incredibly yogic phrase. It's like, look inside, discover the inner realm, discover the inner kingdom. And what you need outside of that will naturally align itself. Like when you're in line inside, things outside work a little bit better. And in fact, most people, their work should start with working with the inner alignment. And it's because when the forces are moving too many different directions energetically, you don't align. There's a story that one of my teachers used to tell that describes this beautifully. He said he was up in, I think it actually might have been Pakistan, but I'm not 100% sure. Up in some extremely mountainous region where, it's a little bit scary on the bus, and, you're looking down some cliff and there's some other bus that used to, and it's a bit of a scary situation, and they're going around this thing and the bus breaks down. Middle of the mountains, nowhere to stop, nowhere to pull over. On this mountain road, the bus breaks down, and the bus driver says, okay, we're going to fix it. But I need everybody on the bus to get out of the bus and push, because if we don't push the bus, it won't go. So everybody gets out, and he's like, okay, let's go. Okay, I'm going to count to 3, and then everybody's going to push. And then 1, 2, 3. And he's pushing on the pedal, and it's going, and nothing's happening. And he's like, what's going on? Like this should be working. So he goes outside the bus, and half the people are pushing on the front of the bus and half the people are pushing on the back of the bus.
Yeah.
And that can seem like, oh, that would never happen. That's most people's life force. It's like, you push on both sides of the door, and then you wonder, the door doesn't open, the door doesn't close. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. You're just pushing on both sides of the door. When you get really clear which direction you want the door to open, it will open naturally. And I think that's one of the reasons why the yogis don't so much go in for, let me try to line everything up materially in my life by pushing and pulling and doing this and doing that and trying to get everything to kind of line up. Let me line up my inner world and then see if that doesn't begin to align to some degree the world outside.
This work of inner alignment, what comes strong to me, what I'm currently looking into, is to actually align with purpose, align with dharma, a clarity on why am I here, what is my mission here, what am I supposed to do here. And I feel that's also not so much of a mental work, but more an intuitive work. So not so much of a rational, analytical work of my life, but more like starting to resonate with these moments that I feel I'm in the right place and I'm meant to do that, and trying to feel out what those times and situations have in common, to tune more into basically the energy, like this is what I am meant to do. And from there, as more clarity arises on this is what I meant to do, I feel direction becomes more clear, and the pulling and pushing, or pushing actually on the door from both sides, aligns or clarifies naturally in a way. The less I'm approaching my life's mission from rationality and from logic and from the classic way of seeing career and development and progression, like the more I'm stepping back from this lens of seeing life, and the more I'm more attuning with the moments of this is what I'm meant to do. Like my heart is full. My heart is so full. And I feel the more I'm aligning basically with my heart is full, the outside starts being in favor in a way of exactly this. I feel when we're in a place of my heart is so full with what I'm doing right now, this is a service that comes from a greater force. And the more we really lean into that and trust into that and come from that place, the more life aligns, and the more, in a way, we're becoming creators of circumstances without actually being the creator, like more opening for creation to really flow and unfold and express. And the more we tap, I feel, or I tap into that, the more contradiction dissolves, the more, the struggle and the stuckness gets out of the way, and flow starts being an experience of action. Rather than, I know that from periods of my life that I feel like, I push here and there and so much effort is needed, and nothing moves, and constant follow-ups are required to get anywhere, so to speak. But I feel the more we are aligning basically, or I'm aligning with the fullness of life,
Yeah.
the more that drops away and lightness comes in, joy comes in, and the sense of being in the right place,
Yeah.
um, moving at the right time, moving in the right season in a way,
Mm.
is accompanying the experience.
I love your sharing so much, and I feel like that, sometimes I say to people on Zoom calls is like that feeling that you're in the right place and you're doing the right thing and you are where you're supposed to be. Nothing is more valuable than that. It's like when I first moved to India, it's a strange thing to say, but I felt like I got picked for the Olympic team.
Hmm.
It was just like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And, friends of mine would write me from America, what's happening in India? It must be so exciting. It wasn't really exciting at all. It was like a very simple life of yoga and meditation in very simple circumstances. But there was this feeling like I'm in the right place and I'm doing the right thing and everything is aligned in a way. And when you have that feeling, you wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. It's like, and what I feel that's actually really about, and this maybe gets a little bit back to the root of the question, is like, from a yogic standpoint, they say the atomic and the universal are the same.
Mhm.
You can go down toward an atom or you can go out into infinity, and it's the same. Like even scientifically, the structure is the same. Human beings are somewhere in the middle. They're in between earth and heaven, but they can equally be aligned. It's like that is the science of yoga. It's like, is the profound intelligence of life, the wisdom of life, the joy of life moving through you? And when it is moving through you, you have this feeling like everything's right. And something terribly wrong can be happening, seemingly. And you feel it's still right. It's like there's something right is happening. And that something right that's happening is you're aligned. Like you're aligned with the vast and beautiful intelligence of life. There's a gospel song that I've been listening to recently. You make my life better than I could make it myself. And that's it's like the tremendous intelligence of life is expressing itself in me better than I could express it by myself. And, when you're in that position, it's like, wow, it's going to be a grace filled experience, right? It's going to be an experience and that doesn't mean that there won't be times that aren't challenging. It's like it wouldn't be fun in a weird way if there weren't times that weren't challenging. But there is this exact sensation that you described. It's like I'm in the right place, I'm doing the right thing, and my life is aligned to the intelligence of life.
Like I feel this alignment, being in the right place and the right time, doing the right thing, and the heart is so full. This is actual wealth.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel when it comes to manifestation, when I just think back of my Instagram feed, manifestation has to usually with money, with finance, with life partner,
Yeah.
with love. Um, but I feel wealth and right relationship and this fulfillment of love that we would like to project into life partner, into the right husband, into the right wife. That's something that needs to start inside. Like
Yeah.
this needs to be an inner condition. This wealth of being full. The heart is full. This I feel is where wealth starts.
Yeah.
Like this feeling, I'm complete. It is complete in a way inside. This is where relationship starts, where fulfilled relationship starts. And therefore, I feel this alignment is really the alignment which then creates the circumstances and the
Yeah.
outer conditions. And I also remember very much in my first years of teaching yoga, I was financially not successful at all. I lived on a shoestring, but I was so rich. My heart was so full, and I had very reoccurring the thought that hey, if anyone would offer me $1 million to do something different, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I absolutely would not want to change that for any external material wealth at all, because I
Yeah.
was so wealthy inside by being in the right place, doing the right thing, the heart being completely full,
Wow.
that there was like very frequently this came as a question, like, would I change this for anything? And it was clear, no, for sure not, absolutely not.
Wow. So much power, so much beauty in this sharing. And like, if you feel like you could say what that's about, like, is that about what you were practicing? Is it about, what's it about?
It had to do on one hand with, before making my life yoga, my heart wasn't fulfilled by what I was doing. My heart was not full. And therefore, there was a constant striving for next.
Right.
And there was never an arriving.
Yeah.
Because my heart was not full.
Right.
No matter which project, architectural project I would bring to an end, there was never an arriving, never a place of settlement in a way, and never a place of full heart. And as I became serious about making yoga my life and my lifestyle and the content of my life, and just dedicated my life to yoga, I remember it was very consciously like stepping away from this way of living and turning towards what is, basically.
Right.
And there's a tremendous joy in that.
Yeah.
A tremendous joy in not following the mind, not following conditions.
Yeah.
Not seeking for an end.
Yeah.
Stepping out of when then type of hamster's wheel.
Yeah.
And I feel this is just this decision, basically, of not dedicating my life energy to such a way of living, plus the yoga practices, which kind of created such an energetic inner alignment, I feel, such an upliftment, such a
Mm.
clarity, such a joy, just the practices, and then to share that with others and
Yeah.
see exactly reflected how this energy unfolds just in
Mm.
others. Like it's
Mm.
not only happening for me, but to see that this can be shared and passed on, and the enthusiasm from you know turning in, basically,
Yeah.
that comes, the joy that comes from that, like all of that together, I feel is is what contributed to that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And it's kind of like well, my teacher in India had a wonderful single kind of two-word phrase, antar yantra.
Mm.
Antar means inward and yantra means pilgrimage. But I feel like when you've taken the inner pilgrimage, in a weird way, you stop looking outside so much for signposts. It's like once a long time ago, someone came to me on a yoga teacher training. A very interesting question. She said, I know I have the power of manifestation. You know, I'm going down to the mall and I just envision that there's a parking lot in the best place in the mall. And I go down to the mall, and indeed, there is a parking spot exactly in the best place. Is that right use of manifestation? And in my heart, it was like, there's certainly nothing wrong with it. Like, there's nothing wrong with having the best parking spot at the mall. But much, much, much more powerful than that is I'm in the right place, I'm doing the right thing, and the cup of my heart is just spilling over with joy, love, peace. And I cannot help but share it because it's just in its natural, abundant state. And, I feel like when it's in that natural, abundant state, you're not measuring. Like, there's still something of like, God got me that parking space. Like, I'm measuring the depth of that love by that parking space. And it's kind of like at some point, it's like you don't, you're not measuring life that way. You're measuring it by the inner experience and the inner qualities. And if those parking spaces come, it's not that you don't appreciate that. You still have the same deep appreciation and love for all of the gifts that are given to you in life. You're just not kind of like scanning the environment to see, is this gift coming? Is that gift coming? How exactly did this? It's kind of like, no, life is taking care of life. Like the tremendous intelligence of life is taking care of life. I can sit back. I can relax. I can be at ease. And like the gospel song, you do it better. It's like,
I think this is exactly actually an important point of the whole story. Like, is it really me manifesting this parking spot by visualizing it? Or is it me just tuning into what's happening and having an intuition or a foreseement of circumstances, basically an alignment
yeah,
with life?
yeah,
So, um, probably there is like an excitement, joy, and enthusiasm about this ability to manifest a parking spot or your house or whatnot. Um, but I wonder if that's really such a personal power or if it's more like an ability to open. Um, into life more fully, and
Yeah.
these pictures, these visions, they just come through, or
Yeah.
you can access those.
Yeah.
And in this way, like many saints, they walk through life and exactly the right thing is falling in their laps when it's needed.
Yeah.
And I don't think they have a hard, you know, busy time with manifesting all of that. I think rather they move in a way aligned
Yeah.
with life. There's this beautiful story that you shared a few times with me of Ananda Maima with a bird and a picnic, um, where she orchestrates the whole ashram to go to a picnic in a rush, making everybody be there in order to, I think, catch a dying bird in her lap or
Yeah,
something like
in
that.
her hand, she kind of walks away from the mat, holds her hands out. A bird falls and takes its last breath, staring deeply into the eyes of Ma, and then she kind of cares for that bird, finishes that out.
So this is, I feel like just being completely aligned with life's flow and directing
Yeah,
the own flow to, synchronize
yeah,
with what's happening. And like the parking lot story, also, I do not see that this is like so much of a personal power of making this happen,
yeah,
but actually more of a tuning
yeah, yeah,
into something that's not in your close proximity in
right,
space and time, but
right.
to actually be able to attune with dimensions a bit differently.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like the one thing that's really worth contemplating spiritually is that the kind of like limitation of the egoic mind is such that it doesn't have any power. Like it would love to say like I've got all this power, and it's like it has no power at all but what it borrows from spirit. And that's why someone like Ramdas can say the mind is a beautiful servant, but it's a terrible master. It's like if your mind is aligned with what you were talking about earlier, not just your soul, but your soul's purpose, your soul's expression, your soul's joy, your soul's everything. It's absolutely fine. It's absolutely beautiful. It's bringing what's needed in life. The nutrient of life is coming by itself. Um, but if it thinks that it's the creation point of that, it's in a deep trouble. Like recently, I've been feeling like, and I think I maybe said this before, but like the physical body of Devdas and the mind of Devdas, it's about 1% of what's happening in the story of Devdas. Like it's just a tiny, minuscule fraction of what's actually happening. Now, somebody out there can think, oh, that means there's something special about Devdas. Not in any way, shape, or form. That's every single person's story. Like what you are in this mind and in this body is a tiny fraction of what you are. But if you think this mind and this body is the whole story, you will suffer that story. Like that to me seems absolutely clear. When somebody like the Buddha says life is suffering, he's not actually saying life is suffering. He's saying if you think that this tiny mind and body is the end point of all existence, you will suffer your life. And, that in a weird way is quite obvious, actually, right? It's like if you think the whole story of life is this mind and this body, you're in a not favorable circumstance. Um, But from the point of view of the soul, is there something wrong with the body or the mind? It's one entity. Like, how can there be anything wrong with it?
Yeah, I'm also very recently making this very, or kind of putting upside down my materialistic upbringing, work related upbringing, financial upbringing. I have been brought up with this very solid conviction that financial security and wealth has to do with the work that you put into life, and is basically a direct reflection on or feedback of what you do in the realm of work. It's a very German, probably, way of approaching life, and I have been living life for a very long time like that. The currency basically for money is work. Basically, that this is how we create this equilibrium in life. And lately, I just discovered that this is really coming when I'm in a very limited, separated perspective about life. When I basically limit myself to the body, to the mind, to the material, to form, to matter, things work like that in this
Yeah.
realm.
Yeah.
But it is definitely not the only realm or the only reality, even though we are brought up to believe that this
Right.
is kind of the only reality. But lately, I'm making the experience that it is absolutely not like that. It is really more about energetics. It is about healthy energetics. It is about aligned energetics. It is about cleared energetics. It is about energetic clearance also from conditioning. Kind of conditioning has an impact on our energetic structure very
Definitely.
much. And if we do not clear this level, if we do not address that level, if we kind of keep the energy flow in a certain pathway, how it was molded this life, other lifetimes, it keeps on flowing like that.
Yeah.
And reality stays as solid and limited as that.
Yeah.
But work can be done to clarify, to clear, to unblock exactly this level energetically, which has, of course, a result on the mind, on the beliefs, but not only there, also on the matter.
Right.
So matter follows energy
Yeah.
as well. So it is not only like the more subtle parts of being, of life, but even it touches down into matter. And therefore, I feel it's really important to acknowledge that we are not just a materialistic being, to acknowledge the energetic part of life
Yeah.
as an evenly or even more important and impactful reality than the physical matter.
Yeah.
And as we start to acknowledge that reality, the energetic reality of life, and start to not only acknowledge but also to clear and to align and to unblock, this ripples
Yeah.
into into various parts
Yes.
of life.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I mean, I feel like what you just shared touches so much on much of what you hear in the yogic community about karma. Like the concept of karma being cause and effect, material cause and effect. It's like, I do this, I get this. This moves like this moves like this. And it's just like, if you try to figure out on that level life, it's going to be a very slow and very painful process. Like, if you align yourself to the greater intelligence of life, it's going to flow effortlessly. But that has to be real. I love your example because I feel like it's, you're actually looking, you're actually discovering, you're actually taking apart the pieces of, what was my conditioning, what was given to me, what of that suits me, what of that doesn't. Like, and being able to kind of like step into a new energetic space. And when that's stepped into, immediately the expression of life changes. As you were speaking, I was thinking of these words that one of the great modern sages of Advaita said. Life is not what you think it is. Right? Life is not what you think it is. It's life. Life is exactly what you think it is. Yeah, it's like from the mind, you cannot understand that. From the spirit, this sentence is completely 100% clear. It's like, if I believe that my life is like this and the mechanics of work is that I work and for that I get money and it's like this, life will work like that. Like, life will illustrate that that's true. When you wash that out and you step out of that, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, the actual transaction of life is happening differently.
Yeah.
Like, the actual way that life is meeting you is different, because it's not meeting you according to the confines of your previous belief. You know, that's that in a weird way. It's like the word liberation refers to that. It's like, I used to believe this was like this, and while you're in that belief, it has its own binding reality. The minute that I step back from that, it's like, oh wow, there's a completely different reality happening. And that also touches the material. Like, that also affects the flow of life.
But the thing is, like, there needs to be an openness to actually experience, I would say. As long as this is a thought,
Yeah.
it cannot work.
No.
And as soon as experience confirms, it's just opening.
This is what is meant, I think. Like, I often feel like the thing of, sometimes you hear this, like, faith is blind. No, absolutely not. Faith is confirmed by actual direct experience, and needs to be confirmed by actual direct experience, because when you confirm it, it's like, whoa, you unlock a whole nother level of the potential of reality, and that's confirmed by experience. It's not blind. And
Yeah.
then once it's confirmed by experience, it's like, okay, the door opens wider, more can be received. Wait a minute, if this affects this, like, maybe I can also let go of this. Maybe I can also see this in a different way. Maybe I can unlock this piece of my past or my conditioning and see that that's also not what I am. And suddenly it's like, whoa, it's the nutrient from that is just, can be almost constant. if there's desire for that.
And I feel one thing is the own actual experience, which is where it's at.
Yeah.
But leading up to that, I feel very powerful stepping stone is the experience of our teachers,
Definitely.
experience of sages.
Definitely.
It's like the actualization in
Yeah.
a human
Yeah.
form,
Yeah.
to witness that and to be with that, like that can be so affirming that it can open the door within to actual self experience.
100%. 100%. I feel like, I mean, it's very alive in my heart because of this book that recently was launched about my teacher in India. But I kind of met him, and he profoundly, completely, totally transformed my life. And if you say, what was the most powerful gift that he gave you? Don't have one preconception of what's possible. Like in him, the impossible was breathing. A living reality of complete, utter, magical potentiality was just walking around the room. And it's like, wow, it was just so clear, like right from the beginning. I've got to let go of everything that I thought was possible or not possible. Because there's an example. Yeah.
Yeah, manifestation approached from a yogic point of view is definitely something that is more of an alignment with the intelligence of life and strengthening this ability to align by experience, by seeing it actually work. And that is such a not long lasting, but change. It's not the manifestation that comes through such life alignment is irreversible. It's nothing to fall back to old habits or pattern or because as life clears, as this channel that we're here with clears and opens and is an experiential receptivity of the intelligence of life and expression of the intelligence of life. The manifestation that comes through from that is radical, all pervading, everlasting. It's very different than the common approach, I feel, to manifestation.
So, dear ones, we are Sahaja Collective. We have community spaces online like the Sanctuary. We have retreats all around the world. We have yoga teacher trainings. We have lots of opportunities to connect, to share, to grow, to love, to live, to enjoy. We welcome you to be part of that journey with us, and we thank you from our hearts for being part of our community. Big love.